Student accommodations are very expensive. Finding an accommodation for international students is not easy. If you think you can get a private rental without even being in Australia, you're wrong. Alright, hello, welcome back to another video on this channel. Firstly, thank you again for all the support and love that I'm getting. I can't be grateful enough. A major life update that I'll be making a video on is that I got a full-time job. So a lot of you must have seen this video and may have gotten in touch with me and this channel through this video. I'm going to make a part 2 of that video obviously, but I've gotten yet another full-time job in marketing. So yeah, it looks pretty good. Again, it's a contract, but without taking the name of the organization and the pay and everything, I'll save that for the next video. But pay is better, organization, I wouldn't say better, but organization is different, so that's diversified experience for me. But yeah, I'll make a different, like a full video on it in some time. Give me some time, let me settle into the organization and we'll go from there. But this video is about one of the main pain points that a lot of international students have, which is accommodation. Now I made a lot of videos on accommodation. Look at this, and many more, where I've talked about private rentals, student accommodations, cost of living, what the rent is like, what the living conditions are like. A lot of you reached out to me. Also, if you want to reach out, ask questions, get into a call with me, you can reach out anywhere here and we can get on a call, or I can send you voice notes and stuff. But a lot of you also asked for a video where I talk about the starting costs that international students don't know about when it comes to accommodation. So be that bond, rent, cleaning charges, etc. So I'll make a separate video on that. But this video is around how can international students actually find affordable accommodation as an international student, because I've talked about student accommodations before. Student accommodations, there are organizations that I've mentioned previously like Scape, Y Suites, Ugo, Unilodge, which are available across Australia. Then there are uni campus living as well. If I talk about Sydney, there are uni campus living for University of Sydney, UTS as well. If I talk about Adelaide, Uni Adelaide has uni house accommodation that they provide. Melbourne, similar to everywhere. But the thing is that these are very expensive, and secondly, they get filled up pretty quickly. So if you're someone who has applied for their visa but are waiting to make other accommodation choices and different choices when it comes to flights as well, and making those starting arrangements, it can be hard for an international student to book these sort of accommodations because they're so expensive from the get-go. And these accommodations are also favored by domestic students as well. So for a domestic student, it's way easier to book these sort of accommodations because they're already in Australia. They've been born and brought up in Australia. Whereas an international student, let's say if I'm looking at what's it called, Uni Adelaide's Uni Village, it's February. I'm supposed to be coming in July, but I haven't gotten my visa yet. So the probability of me booking that accommodation without even a visa is just very uncertain. So that's why a lot of people go towards private student accommodations where Scape comes in, Unilodge comes in, and the other organizations that I mentioned. Then there's another vertical altogether, which is around private housing, where you can get a property, a full house on your own, or a shared or a private room in a shared apartment, and there are different ways around it. Yeah, so these are the main two verticals that a lot of people go for. But each has its pros, each has its cons. I'm not going to get into that because I've already made a bunch of videos on it. But this video we'll talk about how obviously we've mentioned that finding affordable accommodation in Australia can be challenging, especially for international students who are making this choice from outside of Australia, so they can't physically go to the place. without wasting too much time, we'll get into it. So in this video, I'm going to talk about actual tips on how to find affordable housing. I'm going to give you different options. I'm going to talk about my experience as well, so it's not structured, but listen to the full video. I bet you'll get a lot of insights and advice from it. So what happened with me was that I came in 2022. So I booked an Airbnb for 10 to 14 days, not because I wanted to, because I had to because of quarantine. I came, I checked into the Airbnb, and my thinking was that yes, I'll stay in the Airbnb. As soon as my quarantine finishes, I'll go for inspections, which I'll book through Facebook Marketplace. Now, Facebook Marketplace is a very, very popular platform here, widely used platform here for anything. You can buy a phone to a house, so it's that big. So yeah, I thought that a lot of people, what they do is that they put their ads for a room in their shared apartment on Facebook Marketplace, so that's easier for them to find a tenant. So that was my thinking as well, that I'll book inspections through Facebook Marketplace and then go in a private room in a shared apartment, because that'll be cheaper. And yes, it is generally cheaper, but what I found was that whatever inspections that I was going to, one, I wasn't asking the right questions before going, so I actually wasted a lot of time. Where if I would have known a particular thing about that house or those roommates or housemates, I wouldn't have even bothered going for the inspection. So that is one tip, where when you're going towards finding affordable accommodation in private rentals, ask a lot of questions beforehand. What I'll recommend is go to Facebook Marketplace, search for private rooms in a shared apartment. But before that, what you can do is you can actually put in the location that you're wanting to search in. So let's say if I talk about Adelaide, near the CBD in a 5 kilometer radius, there's Kuralta Park, there's Prospect, there's Norwood, there's Unley, there's what else? Woodville. So there are a lot of suburbs which are in a 5-10 kilometer radius. What that means is that if you get a private room in a shared apartment in any of these suburbs, for you to get to the city, it's only one bus, and it's going to take you a maximum of 25-30 minutes on bus, which is really good. Whereas if you go to a very far off suburb like Port Adelaide or Salisbury or what else? You get what I mean, really far off. It'll be a hassle for you to get to the city and then go wherever you want to go. So that's one tip that I have for you to find affordable accommodation housing. Affordable accommodation is that when you're looking through Facebook Marketplace, put as many filters as you can, and then when you reach out to someone and book an inspection with that particular someone, ask as many questions as you can beforehand. What's the rent like? Can you get on a video call? Can we do like that sort of an inspection first? What do you do? What do the housemates, what do the roommates do? And then go from there. Because I went to an inspection where the person is like, oh, 4 of us live and we all cook for each other, and that's the culture we want to maintain. And I'm like, no, mate, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to eat somebody else's made food, because I have my own diet, I have my own preferences. So yeah, these sort of mistakes that I made is what I don't want you to make. That's one. Second is that utilize flatmates as much as you can, and try to live with Aussies. Try to live with people from not from your culture, because the thing is, when you live with people from your culture, more often than not, they take you for granted. They expect you to bend over. They expect you to live as per their standards, or they start expecting more from you. Whereas if you want to live in a shared apartment but in a private room, and you want to keep to yourself, you want to have your outside accommodation life on your own, inside accommodation life in your room, and generally the Aussie people from Australia, people from Mexico, Colombia, England, these sort of people will love interacting with you, but will also be respectful of your privacy, of your space. So that is my second tip in terms of finding affordable accommodation. Third is that you can, when you're going through platforms like Flatmates, Facebook, you have a bargaining chip. You have power to bargain, so you can, bring the price up and down. Because more often than not, let's say if I'm living in a 4 bedroom house, and if and we are paying rent according to the sizes of our room, and if one of us decides to move out, and if I literally found the house, I can talk to the other three and just increase the fourth person's rent, and we decrease each of our rents. And it is my liability to find someone. So that is what I'm talking about. The fourth person comes in, he's good, I like him, we think if he or she will fit the culture, they will have a bargaining power to reduce the rent. That is my third tip when it comes to finding affordable accommodation. Fourth, a lot of the times it might be the case, similar to what I experienced, that you might not fit with anyone. So one thing that I recommend you do is, when you're going to your orientation, when you're going to your fresher parties, or when you're going to those sort of events in the starting week, in the starting month or so, talk to friends, befriend people, and ask them what their accommodation situation is like. Because more often than not, what can happen is that you find 2 to 3 people who are also in the same space as you, who are either maybe living with relatives, or in a hotel, or in an Airbnb, and looking for accommodation. You or 2 3 people can just come together and rent a whole house, which will be cheaper for all of you. And when all three of you who are new and are applying for a property, you are more likely to get that property, rather than the only person applying for a 3 BHK or a 2 BHK, and then expecting that, oh, I'll get the 2 BHK, 3 BHK, and then find a tenant of my own. That is my thing. Fifth tip, another one, not around affordability, but be cautious of scams. Only book in a property after like an e-inspection or an actual inspection. Don't go off of images. Anybody can, in this day and age, anybody can edit them, anybody can use previous images and then sell you a dream. But when you actually go into the room, it can be dirty as hell. Things might not be working. Another thing, calculate all your monthly costs, monthly budget for rent, utilities. Include your utilities in the rent, because when you're going to these sort of private accommodations, utilities are not included in your rent. So if the rent is $250, on top, give it easily 20 to $30 every week for electricity, water, gas. And generally these sort of bills are just distributed amongst the number of people living in the house. So let's say if we have, like, if the four of us get a $300 electricity bill, that's going to be divided in four, irrespective of I was home or not, or I was in Melbourne, let's say, for a holiday. I haven't used the electricity, it's okay. We're going to distribute it amongst the four of us, because there's no way for us to find out who is using how much. Another thing, another tip for affordability is that if you feel someone is using more electricity, more water, more gas, or if their partners are living with them, or if their girlfriend is coming, or their boyfriend is coming home over a lot, and they're using a lot of electricity, have those hard conversations. Tell them that, hey, this has been happening on a repeated basis, so how about we come to a mutual decision where you pay a little bit more utilities because your partner is here a lot, or you're using a lot of electricity. Have those sort of hard conversations if you want. Another thing that you can do is arrive a little early to find the right accommodation. So a lot of people think that, oh, my uni is starting in March, so I'll get there in a week before, I'll be able to find an accommodation and stuff. But let me tell you, it's not that easy to secure a good accommodation. Everybody travels with that in mind. So I'll recommend you to actually come in mid-February or third week of February and start this process sooner, because the more settled you are when you're going to your orientation, when you're going to those sort of events in the start, the more better you'll feel, and the more you'll be able to focus on actually making friends and connections and networks. That is another tip, because the sooner you come, the sooner you'll come in comparison to your competition, to other people who will then be competing for the same properties that you would have competed for if you would have come with them. When it comes to student accommodations, the only tip that I see, those rents will be fixed irrespective of what you're going to do. Again, I've talked about different rents and different cost of living in my videos here, but when it comes to student accommodations, what you can do is you can go for shared rooms, which will then drive your rent down. Shared rooms, by shared rooms, what I mean is 2 beds in the same room. Now, you won't get privacy at all. I mean, not at all. I mean, you can have a good relationship, and then if you're bringing someone over, for example, or if you're talking to someone, if you're having a hard conversation, you can ask your roommate to just step out, or you can step out. But yeah, if you actually really want to live in the city in a student accommodation, consider letting go a bit of letting go a bit of your privacy and then going into those rooms. If you have any questions, that's it for the video. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out anywhere here or in the comments. I'll be happy to help you out. See you in the next one.